Hi everyone, Tyler here from TW-Waytek. Today we're going to be talking about how to access a SharePoint site's user list in Power BI. So let's get started. Not too long ago I created this Power BI report based off of data pulling from a SharePoint list, and it was for tracking projects. And for this example it was an IT project. And if we go to the SharePoint list, we have many different columns to include two user columns. So the developer list and then the end user list. And then if you come back and look at the actual table, this is the SharePoint list table, and you look at developer and you look at end user, you just see the name list. So how do we actually see the user's name, and where can we actually access that information? So that's what we're going to show you today. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is from either in the model view or, the table view or the model view, you want to go to the home menu and transform data. That's going to open the Power Query editor. And this will have all your tables. We just have the one. So this is our SharePoint list. And we have our developer and end user columns, which still show list. And if you look at the other columns, they have like a regular drop down that you can filter and sort, etc., just kind of like you would in Excel. But if you look at the developer and end user, you notice that they have these two arrows that are pointing out. This means that they're connected to another list, or another table, we should say. And if you click on it, and you click on expand to new rows, do the same over here, expand to new rows. So that creates this as a record now. We'll click at the two arrows again. That's going to show some of the data that we can select here. We're going to unselect select all columns, and we're going to select the title. We're going to keep the original column name prefix, which will be developer, and then we're going to click OK. And now you'll see that the names of the users come in. And we're going to do the same here. Uncheck select all, select title, click OK, and now we have our end user names. And then if you notice over on the right hand side, we have a applied steps. So every time you make a change, it keeps a change log, and you can go back, and if you need to go back, and so when I click on this step, you can see we go back to the step before that actual change was made. And so in this case, this is the first example. It's pretty much done. You would have your developer and end user names. You can click close and apply. This will update your table. And then if you come back to the table to view it, you can see it's the developer.title and end user.title is Tyler Wasson and the other end users. So now you can include that in your report. Our next example, we're going to connect this list or this table to the user table for this SharePoint site. And to do that, we're going to go to our model view. We're going to get data. We're going to get OData feed. We're going to go to OData feed. And we're going to put in this URL. I'm just going to copy that, paste it in here. And we're going to get our SharePoint list name, which is just this here. Paste that in, click OK. So this should just be your site name. I'll make sure to put a link to that in the comments for the video. I'm going to click OK. It'll just connect. We'll just use our organizational account. We'll sign in and click connect. And then that should pull in that table. Or bring up, actually no, it's going to bring up all the tables in the SharePoint site. So what we're going to want to do is look for users, and we're going to select user information list, and we'll click load. And that's going to bring in the table. We'll just let that load. Should take a second. Okay, so now now we have another table, and what we're gonna want to do is to link it. We're gonna create a relationship between these two tables. And to do that, actually, before we set up the relationship, there's one thing we have to do. So we are going to want to create the relationship against the email column in the user list. So we need to make sure that that gets added here to the project tracker list. And to do that, we're going to go back into our transform data. And you can see here we now have our user list. So so the first thing, actually, let's go back to the project tracker list, and let's come back here to the expanded developer. Okay, so let's delete this out. Yeah, we're going to delete that out. We know. Come back here. We're going to click here. And instead of it just being the title, we're also going to include email. Yes, we are sure. So now that includes both developer title and developer email. And we can do the same for the end user. Actually, no. We can do that here. End user, unselect, do title. Actually, there is no email. Okay, so let's just do it for the developer at the moment. We'll leave everything else as is. So now we have an additional column called developer.email, which is good. And then under the user information list table, what we're going to want to do is go over to the email right here. We're going to remove the nulls. I'm going to check the null here. I'm going to close this out. And here we go. So one important piece of information to note. So when you're on the table, when you're on your list, when you go on your list and you're selecting a user here, you're actually pulling data from your Microsoft Entra account. So anybody that's in essentially your Active Directory is available here. Now, the table that we're working with here is it's the users that are added to your SharePoint site. So as of right now, these 3 users are in the SharePoint site. Those other users are not, and I'm not exactly sure yet where to find those. So if you know, and you be grateful if you put those in the comments. But I'll keep looking. But in the meantime, it's still a mystery. So I can go ahead. I mean, ultimately, they're a part of the SharePoint list. I would want to add them to the SharePoint site, and by doing so, would essentially solve that problem. So, but either way, we got everything done that we need to do here to create the relationship, and now we can go ahead and close and apply. So that's going to update the 2 tables. I'll add the additional column into the project tracker table, and then it's going to apply that filter to the user list. And in doing so, it automatically created the relationship from, let's see here, you can actually zoom in on that. So here, it created the relationship between the developer.email and email. So if I double click on that, and zoom back out, and zoom back in here. So it created a one-to-many relationship between these 2 tables, from the developer email and the user information list email. So we can go ahead and save that. So now this information is essentially connected. So now if you wanted additional information, so let me just show you like the additional information that you can pull on a user and add it to your reports. So obviously there's email, there's full name, there is your image, your thumbnail image, the department, your job title, work phone, full username, any website, office. That's pretty much about it. So you could add those to your reporting and just to provide more context information if that's something that you need. If you just need the names, then you're good with the first step. But really that's this in a nutshell. But from here you can go ahead and build out further your reporting. And as I said, I'll continue to look for how to add it or pulling it to the Entra ID or the Active Directory user account. I'm still looking for the table. I'll probably do a further update once I find it. For more information on this video and more, make sure to visit my website at TW-Waytek.com. I'll make sure to leave a link in the description below. So that concludes my video. Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe to my channel to get all the latest technology tips, and to visit my website at TW-Waytek.com, where you'll find even more tips and tricks. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.